squad. As you start filling in the room, send up them acorns, them three squirrels. It's just me and Marcus this morning. Mundell had a prior engagement. He was going to try to drop in. In fact, he may drop in at any moment, but he has some engagements that he has to go get to. But we can hold down the fort a little bit while he's gone. Marcus, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Had a had a tough go of it sleeping last night. Maybe because I'm having dreams of a fascist coup, coup de grace, to say the least. When
Yeah.
it comes down to the presidential, when it comes down to the presidential seat itself. But I would like to say good morning to everyone. Good morning to everyone, especially the organizers here in Georgia who've been
Yes.
doing it for
Yes.
since before it was popular. And I'm not knocking anyone else who's coming through to help us out. But I do want to just start this morning off by making one statement. Y'all don't know Georgia. A lot of y'all just don't know Georgia. Hell, I've been organizing here for a couple of years now, and I really don't completely understand Georgia
Right.
because it's a new demographic. It's you're talking about Atlanta. Atlanta metro region is one of the fastest growing areas in the country, full of young black people, black and brown people,
Yeah.
and we would be remiss if we tried to bring this organizing effort that is massive, obviously, from so many people across the country trying to come down and help Georgia do its thing. It's massive. But on the same token, national folks got to realize when you come to Georgia, it's not Iowa.
Right.
When you come to Georgia, it's not New York. When you come to Georgia, it's not places that you can run the same kind of camp. It's not a place that you can run the same kind of campaign. And a lot of people are talking like they know Georgia because they have this awkward assumption that Georgia is what national consultants and national folks want to say it is when it's not that. Georgia is a place with a bunch of, black folks who've been voting for years that are aging out of more conservative voting
Yeah.
and starting to go into a more progressive voters down here in the state of Georgia, believe it or not. So we're gonna see. I want to give respect. I want to give a shout out and a respect to everybody who's helping us out, but just the folks who started out.
Terry Stacy said, just tell people what to do. We'll repeat it every day, and I think that's the important thing. Is like we're not tired of discussing it, but we have been discussing it, and we're going to repeat it every single morning. The number one thing that you can do, Mark. Well, actually, let me ask Marcus that because this is more of your space than mine.
Yeah.
What's the number one thing these people can do? The people who are listening in to help John Ossoff and listen, we gave John Ossoff hell yesterday, but we're going to help him win, right?
Yeah, right. That's important. I mean, it's important to know that we can critique candidates, especially candidates who aren't black in a black state, dealing with black voters that you're going to need to win. I mean, we can critique that and also support you at the same time. We proved that with Joe Biden, and we're going to do the same thing with John. He gets no passes either. So right now, there's a lot of organizations doing the work. And everyone knows about Fair Fight, Stacey Abrams' other group, my former cousin group, right? When I was the chief of staff of New Georgia Project. But I'm going to center two organizations, again, right now that you can go to their website and you can help out the state of Georgia by volunteering, by donating to these specific two. And I'll try to bring up two new ones later on this week or next week that you can help out with. But for right now, I'm going to start with the basics. And that's my former organization that I was the chief of staff of, and that's the New Georgia Project.
Yep.
You can go to newgeorgiaproject.com or I believe .org, newgeorgiaproject.org. And they have ways that you can volunteer.
Yeah.
They have ways that you can support. You need to support their cause because they have a whole bunch of organizers all across the state of Georgia that are actively doing the work. And I'm gonna use New Georgia Project and my work with them as chief of staff all of last year to say something to people who don't believe what I'm saying. I'm a black guy that lives in Georgia, and I'm a black guy that lives in Georgia that managed hundreds of staffers with the New Georgia Project, and not staffers, but organizers also. And I received messages from days of door knocking, from days of canvassing, from days of phone banking when it wasn't popular to be organizing in Georgia about what the people in the state of Georgia actually wanted. And believe it or not, they were all progressive messages for what folks wanted, right? So I mean, and don't get me wrong, a progressive message in Georgia might be a different than a progressive message in other states. A progressive message in Georgia is, hey, police, stop killing us, defund it. A
Yeah,
progressive
man.
message in Georgia might be, hey, we want clean water. Hey, we don't want you to dump your toxins in our neighborhoods, right? And
Marcus, can I interject real quick and ask you a question?
yeah.
What on earth makes these consultants think that folks don't actually know about policies that they need? Like we don't know we don't know that we actually do need the Green New Deal. Like we don't know that we actually do need to defund the police. I know it's arrogance, right? But I'm just curious in your experience, what is it? And then one last thing to everyone, they're missing our third wheel here. Mark Mundell is at an event. He doesn't stop. He's working, he's doing the work, and he's going to try to drop in when he can. He may not make it, but we're going to hold it down while he's gone. Go ahead,
That's right.
Marcus.
That's right. Well, what makes them think it is they're insulated. It's very simple. They're insulated and they're away from what Georgia is. Georgia's in the Black Belt. Some of the poorest yet happiest people in America live in rural Georgia. And Georgia is one of these places where, because when you think rural, what do you think? You think white voter, white person, white people living on farm on set amounts of property in the middle of Iowa, Nebraska. Yep. That's what you think.
Yep.
Rural in Georgia is black. Rural in Georgia is people who get up and still go hunt for like every day. Rural is people who live in places like black folks who live in places like Waycross and Thomasville and Valdosta and the outskirts of Albany and the 10 to 20 miles surrounding Macon, Georgia, right? Rural Georgia's not just a bunch of city black folks and then a whole bunch of white folks in rural areas. There's a lot of black voters here, and there's a lot of black people here. And another interesting stat, if you think about it, Georgia has the highest amount of black people in any state in America, right? Per capita, not even per capita, they just have the highest amount of black people in any state in America. And that also, that means that you have a large amount of African-American men and black people and black men who live in this state who, quite frankly, you have to prove every election cycle that you're not full of it, right? So if you're a poor black guy and your mom's if you're a poor black person and your parents were poor and their grandparents were poor and not only poor but like just targeted by systems and powers that be, you got to come harder than I'm just not going to do nothing and I'm not the Republican. You actually have to have messaging.
Yeah, man.
And I think the disconnect is that that DC and the consultant class, they need certain people to like push the messaging that they want to push, because they don't fundamentally if a black person dies from a cop, I don't think the DNC and I don't think the Democratic consulting class can actually, that's not convenient for them, because you have to address that. And you have to address the white folks that still want cops that are a part of this big tent called the Democratic Party, and the talking points are there. So that's why Stacey Abrams is so important, no matter what people say about her. Stacey's important in this state. And she's important because she knows how to navigate these people and also direct the funds and direct their messaging and say, no, that's not going to work. This is not going to work. But you know why Stacey knows that? Is because Stacey's been working with us for years. She knows. So she knows that you can't come down here and say nothing. So I'm very interested in the conversations that are going on between, national organizations, national consultants and Stacey, who they would rather use as a token than an independent thinker who can actually tell you how to win this state. I know that because I've actually worked with them and seen them do that to her. So don't get me wrong. She is the darling, and a lot of folks are going to listen to her, but there's still going to be consultants with a lot of money who come down here and try to run Iowa-based commercials, Midwestern.
I gotta cut you off for something that's far more important than winning Georgia. Somebody said that this shirt looks like a Proud Boy shirt. I'm gonna have to take this off in the middle of the podcast.
Hold on, Big Sexy. Wait a minute. We gotta we gotta.
I mean, not right here. Like, I'll go. I gotta run it.
Something.
No, this is not a Proud Boy shirt. Obviously, they don't rock with Armani. But Go ahead with everything else that actually matters. I'm sorry for the
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
interjection.
yeah.
That just caught me off guard. There's in no way, form, or fashion this black
Yes.
and gold Proud Boys. Go ahead.
Yeah. So here's the thing, right? Like, and you have folks who are the gatekeeper class who, Atlanta's a very popular place to visit for black people, right? Atlanta is this place where you could walk into a diamond store, you could walk into a jewelry store, you could walk into a very high class restaurant, and you have no idea if a black person or a white person owns it, unlike a lot of other cities, right? You come to Atlanta and you come acting like you run this place, and they're gonna look at you like you're stupid.
You're gonna find out otherwise. Like that's the beautiful thing about Georgia. And one of the things that I think that is missing in the conversation that we're gonna say every single morning, and to everybody who's a part of the Trap Squad, we know there's like 100 other issues that need to be talked about. But you're talking with three guys who, well, Mondale's not here today, but on a regular basis, you're talking to three guys who have experience in Georgia. One who's run a statewide campaign in Georgia. That's Marcus. Another who has Marcus not only just ran a statewide campaign, but also helped register hundreds of thousands of people in Georgia. Right. I was a part of a statewide campaign. It was smaller. And of course, I'm doing my media thing. And Mondale has sent out hundreds of thousands of text messages.
Millions.
Well, I'm just saying just in Georgia. I guess millions in Georgia, too. Right?
Millions in Georgia. Yeah.
Good God. So you're talking with people who know Georgia, who know the pulse on the ground, who know politics. And if we really are talking about winning Georgia, you got to listen to folks who know Georgia. If you don't listen to us, you need to listen to like if they don't want to listen to us, who should they listen to, man?
Well, I think I'm gonna give out a couple of names. All the leadership, most of the leadership at Fair Fight, all of the leadership at Fair Fight gets it.
Good.
And they are. So I am at peace with the idea and the mindset that a lot of the establishment folks are willing to, work with Fair Fight. But it's bigger than Fair Fight, and that's what a lot of people don't understand. Like you have black male, the Black Men's Lab here in Georgia with Muwaz Davis, right?
Yes.
Who galvanizes that key demographic that got Joe Biden over the hump here, and that's 18 to 24-year-old young black people, specifically black men, right? And these people, John, it's obvious. What's obvious to me is John Ossoff himself can't talk to these people.
Right. He needs to just shut up and let other people talk on his behalf.
Right. What's obvious to me is that without a staged universe, John's going to have a hard time navigating it. So you're going to have to, like that. Therefore, that dollar that you spend on that campaign is going to have to go to an organization that actually knows how to talk to people and organize people outside of their talking points and outside of the candidate themselves, and start organizing people around the issues that might come out of the Senate. And of course, Nsé Ufot and Alex Birch and the communications team at New Georgia Project.
Speaking of, did you see AOC give the shout out to New Georgia Project and fundraise for them? I think she raised $100,000 for New Georgia Project and Fair Fight just last night.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the necessity, right? Like, I talked to Nsé last night. I actually got a couple of the talking points that I'm going to be spreading throughout this show. But like people like Nsé Ufot and let me not forget about James Woodall with NAACP. That young brother is talking about, and he's, of course, they're nonpartisan, so they don't support specific candidates, but what they do support is voter registration. And the more people that are registered to vote here in the state of Georgia means the higher likelihood of a Democratic victory, because when you have a high voter registration numbers, that works out. That means that you're actually talking to African Americans and black people in the state of Georgia. This is important, right? So, I mean, I know we got started directly into Georgia again, but so many people across the nation want to rock and roll in Georgia. Well, then the phone banks are at newgeorgiaproject.org. If you want to figure out how to get involved, you want to donate to newgeorgiaproject.org. If you want to figure out how to get involved, you want to donate to Black Male Voter Project. If you want to get involved, and the reason why I say these two organizations is because on this show specifically is because there is a progressive lens to both organizations, right? Yes. New Georgia Project believes in the Green New Deal. New Georgia Project believes that there should be fresh air and clean water for black neighborhoods across the state. And they've been organizing for years. And here's the thing, it's not because a top-down approach like some progressive congressperson said, hey, New Georgia Project, you need to say this. No, that happened because New Georgia Project had been knocking on doors and registered over close to 1 million people, I believe, at this point, at least over 700,000 people at this point, and literally got all of their messaging from the streets and it elevated up into a platform. So that's a really good thing about this organization. You know, Squirrel Gang, don't give your money to people who aren't going to do the right thing with it, because you could easily be buying somebody a Ferrari instead of buying a couple of canvassers dinner to knock on doors.
Right. Because really, that literally is the difference. The difference is pouring money into consultants who are going to buy another yacht because these people are that rich, and whether or not an organization actually has the funding necessary to take care of their staffers, of their volunteers, of the purpose for which they're raising money in the first place.
Yeah,
I do want to give a shout out. You guys don't know this organization, but I know this organization well. It's not centered in Georgia, but if you're looking, people have been pouring millions of dollars into the Lincoln Project because the Lincoln Project has good ads, and now they're raising money again on Georgia. Don't do that. Don't do that. If you're going to put money in the air game, which I generally don't suggest you do, put your money in ground game. New Georgia Project, Black Male Voter Project, those are ground game, those are field game. But don't give your money to Lincoln Project. Give your money to Really American. Really American has at its core progressive values. The team that runs it, they are progressive, and they're doing ads that are better than the Lincoln Project. So if you just need to see an ad on air, go to Really American, not the Lincoln Project. But everything we know about Georgia says put your money in the ground game.
Yeah, Ossoff and Clyburn are messing it up for us. That's why I'm trying to I'm trying my hardest to be positive this morning. So let me give a positive spin on this thing right here. This race can be won. These 2 Senate seats can be won, but it's nothing more obvious to me than once Ossoff gets in. And I'm going to lay back on Warnock, because Warnock, and also here's another little fun bit of information. Pastor Warnock was the chair of the New Georgia Project for years.
Oh, I didn't know that. I did not know that.
He was the board chair of New Georgia Project for years. So he also has more of a progressive lens. Now, there's a thing about like being able to navigate the waters in the state of Georgia and in the South. There's a thing about navigating the waters. And what I mean by that is, does unabashed progressive, classical Bernie progressive ideas work in the state of Georgia? Well, that is literally something that can be argued. And the reason why it can be argued is because nobody knows what that stuff means in Georgia. Just follow what I'm saying to you. They know they need clean water, right? But there's no relationship from any kind of leadership or consistent messaging about progressive values outside of policing that happened in the South. So, maybe March of next year, you could tell your favorite people, you could tell your favorite candidates, you could tell your favorite progressives that they might, especially the ones that are considering primarying anybody in 2024, that they might want to come down here and start pushing their ideals before an election cycle. So people down here are a little bit better informed about what progressive ideals are and how to do it, and fund the organizations that are doing it, instead of, saying, yay, we win Iowa. Mm-hmm. Yay, we win, New Hampshire. Yay, we did okay in Nevada. And we got destroyed in South Carolina, and now we can't have a progressivist president. We could change that. We could change that if we really want to.
I want to put this comment back on the screen. And Marcus, I just look at the screen like, hell no. Because the question is, does anyone under 60 even listen to Jim Clyburn? And I'm going to put it on the screen. I'm going to take a screenshot because I'm going to share that shit on Twitter. So here we go. It's on the screen. 3, 2, 1. All right. No, nobody under 60 listens to Jim Clyburn. I got the screenshot. I'm going to share it. Nobody under 60 listens to James Clyburn. I would say most people under 60 have no idea who the hell James Clyburn is, especially in the state of Georgia. So if coming over here telling us what James Clyburn, don't defund the police, Somebody said my James Clyburn sounds more like the Clumps from the Nutty Professor.
That's because he sounds like the Clumps
from the Nutty Professor.
Yeah,
so
right.
but no. I mean, you can't. All politics is local. Now we do have some federal level issues, Green New Deal, Medicare for all. But if you're talking about winning these Senate races, you can't come down here saying the exact opposite of what won Georgia for Joe Biden, which was a group of radical, young, progressives in general, but progressive black people specifically. And you can't come down here saying the opposite of what they're saying, or else they'll just stay home. So no, nobody knows who he is and nobody listens to him, especially in the state of Georgia. The only people who listen to him are rank and file Democratic establishment
there you go.
folks.
There you go. I was about to say my pushback is there's a lot of 20 to 70-year-old, 20 to 60-year-old people who want a seat at the Democratic table who listen to every single word. Yeah. Listen to every single word that he says and also gives him passes, right? And the problem is that when it comes down to the black community, nobody wants to have a realistic conversation. I said this on Twitter last night, but I'm gonna repeat it again. Everybody watching, you guys are one police encounter away from agreeing with defund the police.
Bro, when shade comes in, I gotta put it. Please don't lose your thought because it was important and it's what really matters. But can we pause for Hector Hernandez, who said Bernie knows who Clyburn is? God. I don't even like you no more, Hector. I'm gonna ban you from this page, Hector. God damn.
Take over. Breaks over, nigga.
I had to do it. Go ahead, man. Now let's get back to what. That was cold blooded.
It's a disingenuous argument. Let's talk about defunding the police for a second, because I think we started a little bit yesterday, but I think we need to, as I think about it, I think we need to dig into it a little bit more just for a second. All of you, everybody, every American is one bad police encounter away from agreeing with defund the police. The problem is that there are certain people who don't have that bad police encounter because policing is inherently racist, right? So and I was having an argument with somebody online last night, and this guy kept saying, well, I have done the work. And I said, well, have you ever been to one protest? He was like, yes, a couple of years ago. I said, have you been to a protest this year? He said no, but he was consistently telling me how messaging was a problem and how we needed to tailor it so everybody was satisfied. But we know what we're asking for. What folks don't understand is defunding the police is the centrist viewpoint. Abolish police is the lefty viewpoint, right?
Exactly.
And for them to continue to mansplain what we're asking for or is
centrist-plain.
It's centrist-plain, right? And it's not realistic. And what I can't stand is any white person telling me I shouldn't say defund the police.
Come on, man.
And it's not. I really don't like it when the Clyburns and the centrist black folks say it, but you reek of privilege as white people when you tell me I can't say defund the police because it scares you. First, the police scare me. Right. So we can't keep having these disingenuous arguments and then wondering why we are winning races by, like just small margins. We could mobilize a lot more people on our side of the house who get affected by the things that we're fighting for, man. But that's why we have to keep pushing narratives of our own and keep pushing back on narratives that they drop, because the more that they do it, the more that they think it's not normalized. And I don't mind getting ostracized by saying I believe in defunding the police. I don't mind that.
I don't think it's listen, it is not a radical position whatsoever. We defund education every single year. We defund all the things that are critical to society except for the police. We keep giving police more money. You're never going to see a budget line item cut in the police department without an all-out war, right? But every year we look at finding ways of defunding teachers. And you can't tell me that teachers aren't more important to our communities than police officers. They absolutely are. So if we could defund teachers, What we need to do is defund the police and give that money to some damn teachers. I'm sorry. It's not radical. And there's, when you say these white folks, I want to say especially these upper middle class and bourgeoisie white folks who got money and probably ain't seen a police officer in their neighborhood in 10 years unless they call them out to come and help get a cat out the tree, right? This is the type of encounters that they have with the police officers. When the police officers come in our neighborhood, it's a matter of life and death. So don't talk to me about defunding the police. And don't talk, and here's the other thing, man. It is one, Jim Clyburn saying that it was sloganeering. I don't know if you guys said it yesterday because sometimes my brain checks out. I'm sure one of y'all must have said it. But to reduce what people are fighting for, they're fighting for their lives, to reduce that down and insult it and call it nothing more than sloganeering. That's some insulting shit right there, man. Like, yeah. Because people aren't saying this to have a good chant. Hell no, we won't go 2, 4, 6, 8. Who do we appreciate? We ain't saying it because we want something that sounds good, Jim Clyburn. We're saying it because the police are killing us. Did you not see what happened this summer? This summer just alone. Did you not see how the police are so out of control? They were beating white women. They were beating white women this summer. Now, come on, man. If the police are willing to beat Betsy with her pink bicycle helmet hat out in Seattle, literally, they dogpiled this white woman in broad daylight on the camera. What the hell do you think they've been doing in black communities in the dark of night?
Man, listen. You remember the integration fight in the 60s? Mm-hmm. You remember that? Mm-hmm. You remember how... Because someone in your chat room just said, well, how come y'all just won't say reform the police because that lands better with white people? Well, number one, I'm kind of tired of centering what lands better with white people.
Number two, because white people ain't coming to vote for us anyway. They still voting for Donald Trump.
Right. Yeah, number two, that's the case. And most importantly, we've tried reform before. That conversation has happened for years and years. They were supposed to reform the police after Rodney King got beat. You remember that? That was the reform age. That's when we were supposed to reform. Reforms have not happened since the Rodney King. That didn't happen. As a matter of fact, it's fair to say that they got worse. I mean, now they have body cameras that literally get turned off before they encounter a black man or a black person, right? I don't care what lands well with white people, because typically when a majority of white people voted for Donald Trump, why should I care? Why should I care about what they exactly how they feel?
No, right? Like, say that again, man, because that literally is the point.
Right. Like, and this is a message to Democrats. When the majority of white people voted for Donald Trump, then why should we care about how it lands with them?
Period.
Like, this reform the police and don't say defund the police thing comes from the bloodlust that the Democratic Party has for moderate white voters.
Yeah.
It's that simple, right?
It is the same playbook from 1992.
Right.
Yes, Bill Clinton won moderate white voters, moderate Republicans in 1992. He won a handful of them. He didn't win the lion's share. If it wasn't for Ross Perot, that strategy would have lost in 1992.
Right.
But because it won in 1992, we still have, like, literally James Carville is still one of the top Democratic consultants on the face of the planet, and he was with Bill Clinton in 1992, right? And he is still out here trying to sell you the same strategy book in 2020 that he used in 1992. And I'm just sorry, how can anybody think that that is a rational way of winning when you see it? Republicans are saying they would literally rather die. Moderate Republicans are saying they would rather die than a vote for a Democrat.
Hey, on the levels of sloganeering and on the levels of reform for black people in America and indigenous people in America, I'm going to say this right here. Reform the police is like separate but equal. Reform the police is that phase in between slavery and integrated schools, which was separate but equal, right? That's what reform the police is. And here's why. Fundamentally, we're not having an honest conversation about policing. Policing was created to target African Americans. We say it all on the show. Policing was created from the slave patrols. So if that's never been addressed, if reparations has never happened, then if you expect people to just sort of cowtail it and bow back, and also have disingenuous arguments, because every candidate that ran for Congress that believed in defunding the police, except for one, I believe, won their race, right? You can't blame progressives for that, right? And I mean, and if we're having this hard of a time with just a simple statement like defunding the police, woo, imagine what's about to happen with reparations.
Bro, your boy mentioned something like that. Jamal Bowman said something like that on Twitter last night. He's like, watch how many people run away, and AOC retweeted it. Like, look, man, I'm gonna tell y'all something. We may not. It very well may be that we may not get a progressive agenda accomplished in the next 4 years, right? There's a good likelihood of that. But let me tell you something. That generation, and I'm sorry that it correlates to age. I'm sorry. There is a greater concentration of neoliberals who want to maintain this world of bipartisanship with Nazis, with Republicans who would rather die than to work with them, and who believe in this economic paradigm of neoliberalism, right? Trickle down economics. Don't let Democrats fool you. They are just as much a part of trickle-down economics as Ronald Reagan was. There is an entire cabal of those individuals, and it's concentrated in an older generation. Now, you got a couple of flunkies at the bottom down here with us in our age group who want a piece of that pie, who are going to say the same talking points. The Pete Buttigieg's, the John Ossoffs, right? Those are those guys.
Yeah.
That said, that older generation is on their way out. And we are dealing with a younger generation that is far more radical than anything that Jim Clyburn could ever tolerate. Jim Clyburn would go to the Republican Party before he actually acknowledged the politics of our generation.
Hey, man, I disagree with you because it's not radical.
Well, it's not radical, right?
Yeah, it's not.
It really is. On the international level, it is centrism.
It's not radical. It's us just not wanting to get killed. And y'all have tried everything. They tried community policing. They tried reforming the policing. Police officers, and again, this is not all cops are bad, because all cops, and I do disagree with the all cops are bastard. No, they're not. Not all cops. I mean,
all cops are bastard, man.
Okay,
we can go. That'd be a good argument for us. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's a different argument. And to be quite honest with you, right? Like, I've seen situations where good cops, black cops, a city like Atlanta with like a mostly black force that live in the hood, they can't get away with being bastards at all times. They can't, because they'll get shot and killed. Brothers will literally come and find them, right? So you have to have a certain okay, let me change that up. Most cops are bastards. All right.
Because the chat room may
No, I wasn't even looking at the chat room. It just hit my brain.
You just the reasoning. You just went through the logic of it.
Most cops are bastards. So let me back up. Let me back up and let me say this right here. Policing in America is different for black people than it is for white people.
Period.
And this centrist viewpoint of what cops can do. You know what? I've been doing a lot of complaining. So let me tell you what the fix is. The fix is people either get involved in the Democratic Party or start a new party. The fix is, if we can't reform or we can't defund the Democratic Party, then the fix is we start our own stuff. And then that party, whoever that party is, can't come with a lens of class first. Right? Can't come with, and I said it, can't come with a lens of class first, because racial issues have literally killed black folks blatantly, right? This is my opinion. So that party needs to focus on a reparations package with a earmark for Medicare for all and an earmark for free college, right? That is, I don't mind at all. That is something that is something that I don't have, like, that should happen. And then lastly, about this conversation, how we fix it, man, let's take real polls. Like the power players, let's get people in there who are actually willing to hire a polling firm that says, okay, let's talk to our base. And then said base gives them a response for their answers. I mean, a response for their questions. And then when those questions are gathered up and those answers are gathered up, then they create a platform off of that. Oh, let's create a platform that actually says something about poverty. Let's create a platform that says something about access to healthcare, education, safe neighborhoods. And I mean safe neighborhoods by safe neighborhoods with cops not floating around them at all times. That's what I'm saying, right? So there is a fix to this. There is a fix. We have to be able to acknowledge the fix, but we also have to be able to acknowledge how hard the fix is. The squad has to grow times 20, right?
Yes.
You know, like
times 50, man. The squad has to dominate. The squad has to dominate. That is the future. And I'm going to reach out. I'm connected with AOC through Twitter. Don't pretend to be able to talk to her, but I can at least send her a message. And I just want to send her a message like, sis, don't you dare quit.
Hell no.
Like, please. It might be excruciatingly painful to have to deal with the BS of Democrats in Washington, D.C. But the tide is turning. We are going to send at least 5 to 10 more squad members in 2022. 2024, I hope that we can position that caucus to be the dominant caucus in Washington, D.C. So please, for the love of everything, please don't quit.
Yeah, one more thing. Yeah, she can't quit. But y'all got to run for office, man. Trap Squad, y'all got to run for office. Y'all got to run for office. Y'all got to call. Y'all got to email me, Mondale, Benjamin. Y'all got to email people that y'all know who are doing it. Y'all got to run for Congress.
Yeah.
No matter where you are in the country, right? If you have this neoliberal centrist person who says, dangerously wrong things like, nobody believes black people don't want to.
You know what? Matter of fact, I need the squad because I can't find it. I've been trying to find the clip of James Clyburn somewhere between 2015 and 2017, where he basically said that nobody wants a free lunch. Nobody wants free this. Nobody wants free that. And I'm like, you know what, man? This type of thinking and the role that he plays is dangerous. And it has directly led to us being set back. And we just got to part ways with that. And the only way we could part ways with that is if a younger generation does what Marcus just got through saying. Run for office.
Yeah, you got to run for office, man. This is not even, first off, how can James Clyburn say that? Oh, man, we give so much respect to Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and the Panthers. What was he doing when the Panthers were around? Because the Panthers believed in free lunch and free breakfast.
They literally started that across this country.
Yeah, and all of a sudden schools across the nation, even in white neighborhoods, have free breakfast for poor people. So what is this guy thinking, man? But you know what? That's an extension of, because I want to change topics real quick because I sent you this earlier, but that's an extension of this white supremacy, man. James Clyburn, man, bro, sit down. Somebody in South Carolina primary that guy. And yeah, you're going to lose because the districts in South Carolina, I got to explain something about South Carolina. South Carolina is
like a mug, boy.
South Carolina is the most gerrymandered state in the nation. And guess who doesn't have a problem with it? Jim Clyburn.
Mm-hmm.
Clyburn didn't have a problem with it when we probably could eke out 1 or 2 more seats in Democratic seats out of South Carolina. But it's so gerrymandered that he gets 70% of the vote, bare minimum, every single time. And all of the black people in the state are put in one little area, one little congressional district, and he's happy with that district. When in all honesty, Charleston should be broken up a little bit. Columbia should be broken up a little bit. Aiken should be broken up. A lot of these places that he's congressman for should be broken up a little bit, and it's just not, and it's just problematic.
Was that North Carolina or South Carolina that got gerrymandered so bad that the Supreme Court was like, hold on, y'all got to roll that back?
North Carolina.
It was North Carolina.
It was North Carolina.
I was thinking of South Carolina. And where you have one district that literally is for the biggest part of that district it's a black district in North Carolina. It is the width of about about 2 blocks south of the major highway there and 2 blocks north of the major highway. And it runs like that for about 30 miles. So you're talking about a district so gerrymandered that it's basically a highway cutting through the center of the state, the north of the state. And it just so happens to be all the urban areas collecting all the black folks. So this I'm talking about, and I'll pull it up. But we're talking about gerrymandering that is approved and okay by Democrats because it helps them stay in power. It helps that individual stay in power, not even the entire party. Because like you said, in South Carolina, as well as in Florida, as well as in every state, if these districts were actually allocated properly, Democrats probably would pick up a lot more seats.
Well, a lot of these folks are afraid to run contested races. Because when you have a gerrymandered district with people who have been voting with you for the last 30 years and all in the same district, you're going to fight like hell to make sure that seat doesn't get gerrymandered because you personally have power. So even if that means less power for us as a community, but more power for you, that's perfectly fine by you. You don't have a problem with that. One of my favorite congresswomen, and she got into a little trouble, was Congresswoman Corrine Brown. I believe at one point she was your congressperson and my congressperson,
she was,
right?
Yeah, I remember
that. Her district ran from Jacksonville to right north of Orlando, but it ran basically on 95 and I-4.
Right.
And that's how they kept the district connected. Now, if you look at Florida, and it wasn't more than 10 to 20 miles outside of that corridor at points, and sometimes it was just the highway itself and a strip of land on the side of the road. And that was her district. And with redistricting, that district changed, and now it's Al Lawson that has that same seat, and that's North Tallahassee all the way over to Jacksonville. But I use that as an example to say when these Republicans are gerrymandering districts, sometimes Democratic elected officials are perfectly fine with it. Perfectly fine. And therefore, they're just willing to lose. They're willing to lose whole races
to protect their individual seat and their individual power and their individual income. Because for some of them for a lot of people, that U.S. congressional salary is is pretty sweet. And so they don't want to give up that $187,000 a year and all the perks that come with it.
Man, a big problem with our elected officials and just our political world right now is me. I want, I'm the man, I'm the person. I'm going to keep bringing this up once a show, damn near. It's all about what I feel. It's all about what I want. It's all about what me and my friends and the people. Matter of fact, all right, think about it. The Florida Democratic Party. There's enough Democrats in the state of Florida to never lose. Right? But even with a state that's arguably has a lot more Democrats than Republicans, where you can win a citywide in Jacksonville by centering black voters, the me of party elites in Florida keeps folks from doing that because the consultants again want to make sure that they talk to people that they know, and they got to be know-it-alls. They don't want to go hire the Puerto Rican lady who lives in Orlando, Florida, to do all the door knocking and give her a budget, right? That's the problem with a lot of what's happening in politics right now. It's just a very selfish game, and we can't get to the business of the people. And the business of the people is things like this right here, finding justice for Kawan Charles. A Louisiana teenager was found dead near a sugarcane field in Louisiana at the beginning of November. And Twitter users have been using the hashtag Justice for Kawan Charles to raise awareness about the teen's death and speculate about what really happened to him. So here's what I understand is what happened is the St. Mary Sheriff's Office and the Baldwin Police Department found his body after he went missing for a couple of days. And no arrests have been made, but the Sheriff's Department and the Police Department have been very skittish about releasing details to the family. And what ended up happening in this situation is witnesses say that two white people actually came and picked this kid up, and he went missing. And then when they found him, And when they found him, his face was deformed. And if you look on Twitter, I don't want to share that graphic image, but if you look on Twitter, there is a post of Emmett Till and Kawan's bodies, and the facial bruising and the scars that happened aren't necessarily reminiscent of a drowning, like the police department said. So, I mean, again, I'm not raising any, conclusions until there's more evidence found, but I do want to just lift this young brother up and lift this situation up, because the family believes that there has been some foul play. And I mean, to be quite honest with you, the family believes that this young brother was lynched, right? And I mean, it's been over 50 years since Emmett Till has been lynched, and 50 years later, here it is, where white supremacy, if this is the case, white supremacy has to take it out on somebody to show their dominance and to try to put fear into the community. And lynching is still going on to today. I mean, as a matter of fact, we don't have to go too far to know that real lynching still happens today. If we look at George Floyd, that was caught on camera, right? So between white supremacists, between cops, this makes it all more important that the regalvanization of racism and alt-right, damn near Nazi, Ku Klux Klan tactics and eras, where the guys get with their rebel flags and the Make America Great Again flags, are riding around freely spouting racist epitaphs to black and brown folks all across the nation. This has been normalized by the Trump administration, right? And I guarantee you, if this was a lynching and it was by two white folks, those two white people were Trump supporters, because they are very angry. It is very dangerous, and we are in a very interesting time in America. So that kind of leads to what you were talking about last night, Ben. And this guy Trump and the Republicans, they're trying to throw out their wild card right now. You wanna go into it?
Well, yeah, I do. And someone is asking again this young man's name, and I have a difficult time pronouncing. How do you pronounce? Is it Kawan?
It looks like Kawan.
Kawan Charles.
Quawan Charles. And if you want to find his hashtag on Twitter, it's Justice for Kawan Charles.
I'm gonna drop the link to the article you shared in the YouTube chat room so everyone can see what's going on with it.
Right. So, I mean, it wouldn't even be brought up if police officers haven't consistently, and police departments haven't consistently said that black people kill themselves in the most ironic ways, right? Like, you can shoot your head. Only black people are talented enough to shoot themselves in the back of the head while handcuffed.
In the back of a police car. Yeah.
In the back.
Come on, man.
Car, right? Like, only black people are that talented to actually pull that out. Only black folks are talented enough to, not have any mental issues or mental breakdowns, but yet hang themselves with a sheet off by a trash can.
Come on, man.
In a small jail cell in Texas, R.I.P. Sandra Bland. And no one get charged for it, right? That is the America that we live in. That's the America that we have lived in. And whether it's a Democratic president, a Republican president,
that's it.
That's the America that black folks live in. So I'm sorry. If I say defund the police, you need to shut the hell up and listen to me.
Right. Bro, it is the bright side for me is that all we got to do is keep living. Now, by them not defunding the police, that's one more layer of them making it more difficult for us to live. By them not controlling coronavirus, 200,000 cases in one day, is another possibility for that we won't live. By them not giving a damn about climate change, that's another layer of them making it difficult for us to just live. But if we can just survive, there's an entire generation of people who have been blocking progress that aren't. Because that's just the way humanity lives. They old. They're going. It's going to be over. And there is a progressive future, not because it's just going to happen, but because it has to happen, or else we're not going to survive. We're going to have to change irrevocably how policing agencies work in this country if they function at all. Because honestly, I just got to go back to this. Ask any wealthy community, any upper middle class community. Hell, I live in a middle class community. We ain't got a whole lot of money in this neighborhood, but we don't see the police. The police live in our neighborhood. They ain't patrolling our neighborhood. They live in the neighborhood, right? Middle class. The thing is that they know that their safest communities are not the communities that are over policed. The safest communities are the communities that rarely see the police. Police don't stop violence. Police don't prevent crime. Let me give you another example, man. There was back in the day when I thought I was going to be a preacher. My wife laughed at me because she was like, remember that time you tried to do stand-up comedy? So there's been a couple of things in my life that I've tried that I'm like, okay, I'm glad that didn't work out. But back in the day, I was in Pompano Beach, Florida, and I was walking the streets and I was telling people about the goodness of Jesus. And let me tell you, man, the police were on the same block, just around the corner of every drug deal I saw. Now, I don't personally care about drug deals, me personally, but I just want you to understand the police aren't, because when people are afraid, when Jim Clyburn scares people, he makes them think that if the police are gone, all of a sudden crime is going to go up. Those drug dealers are going to come to your neighborhood. The police are in the same neighborhood as the drug dealer. They are on the same block. They don't stop the crime. They don't prevent crime. They don't prevent murder. They just respond to it after the fact. The safest communities on the face of this planet are the communities that have the least police officers because they have the most resources. And when we say defund the police, we say take that money, those billions of dollars. Every single city spends an inordinate amount of money on policing and hardly any money on development. Take those dollars and put it in the communities instead of stealing money from the communities and giving it to police officers who then go back and drive to their middle class neighborhoods and their upper middle class neighborhoods and take those resources from our community and take them to white communities that already got more than enough. Defund the police and put that money into the neighborhoods that you're over policing.
Hey, that doesn't sound like reform to me.
No,
that sounds like defunding them. I believe Sister AOC, who has gotten quite a few shout outs from us, and I'm happy that she actually gave NGP a shout out. I believe AOC said, well, what does the defunding the police look like? And then she said, the suburbs. It was one of the most potent tweets that I've ever seen ever. like, you know what defunding the police looks like? It looks like the suburbs. I got another story on why defunding the police should be important, and this right here affects my brown Latinx folks. I used to live in Phoenix, Arizona. Love Phoenix. Phoenix is a great place. Actually, I have to get another place in Phoenix for business. And in Phoenix, not in Phoenix, but in Maricopa County, there's this tiny little town that borders, I want to say, Tempe and Phoenix in Maricopa County. It's right in the middle of the Phoenix metropolitan area. And the name of the city is called Guadalupe. Guadalupe is a historically Latinx town. It's a historically Mexican town. I keep it 1,000. It's a historically Mexican town, and it's where a large population of Mexican immigrants came from. And y'all remember a guy by the name of Sheriff Joe Arpaio?
Yeah, I know that clown.
Yeah,
that Sheriff clown-ass Nazi clown.
Sheriff Joe Arpaio had an addiction to harassing Latinx people in Maricopa County. It was an addiction. He would allow them to be killed. He would arrest them illegally. He would take whole neighborhoods and throw them in jail and then try to sort out who was American and who wasn't, right? Completely dismissing due diligence and completely dismissing the Constitution. Well, Sheriff Joe Arpaio one day decides to do a raid on the whole city of Guadalupe. Now, who does a raid on the whole city? And he brings his whole sheriff's department to this little tiny town full of sweet, innocent Mexican people, right? Like, this is like a scene from a bad movie, right? And he comes in, with his cowboy hat on, and he's riding on the top of a tank.
Sorry, on top of a tank.
Yeah, I'll repeat that. He's riding. He had all of his sheriffs around him, and he's riding.
I gotta get a video of that. Keep talking. I'm gonna find that.
On the top of a tank. And I'm not certain if it's imagery or not. I'm pretty sure that there is. And I was friends with the former mayor of Guadalupe out there. Like, she was really cool. Like, and I'm happy that their city is what it is. But But what I remember most, and this is after 1070, SB 1070. What I remember the most about this situation was years later, I was doing business in Guadalupe, and years later, I would talk to 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds, and like, you know, trying to work for candidates. And the first thing out of their mouth was no police, because they were traumatized. And if that's not a better, why do you need a tank to go into a neighborhood of people to just find out, do an ICE raid or do an immigration raid? Why do you need a tank?
Wow.
Yeah, there you go. There it goes. That's the tank. That's
God
the tank.
damn. An actual factual tank.
That's a tank.
I don't know how old it is. Looks like it might be from like Vietnam, but still, it's an actual factual tank that he's bringing through the neighborhood to intimidate. Wow.
All right, now understand something. The same people who voted for Sheriff Arpaio are the same people who voted for Donald Trump. Let's go a little bit deeper. If you don't support defunding the police, then you support that tank we just saw. It's that simple.
Because that's what they're buying with their money, man. They're not doing. I want you to finish your thought, but bro, every time they say reform the police, it always means give them more money. And what do these pigs do with this money every single time? They buy shit like we just saw. They buy shit just like this. Useless and dangerous. They don't need it in any community, but they buy it because they got the money. Go ahead, Marcus. I'm sorry, man.
Listen, and you're right. So when they like, and it's not even misappropriation. It's an extension of the military-industrial complex.
Absolutely.
At this point, right? So what you might find is the same people who are not, who are anti-no more wars are definitely anti-defund the police. I mean, I'm sorry. I got to ask white people. This is to all of our white trap squad members. Y'all can respond to this in the post in Facebook or Twitter. Does that tank make you feel safer?
Would that tank make anybody, if that tank came down your street, do you feel safer? That tank coming down your street literally means we're about to go to war to me. Let me see. I want to say one other thing, man, and you jump in there. Let me tell you what my bougie middle income, I grew up working class, but now I'm middle class. Might be middle upper class. Depends on what Joe Biden's tax rates are going to be for us. But the point is, I dare cops to come to my neighborhood acting like they act in less impoverished, in less wealthy neighborhoods, in the working class neighborhoods, right? And I say that so people can understand this class dynamic. It is overwhelmingly a class dynamic because you're not going to go to Oprah's neighborhood with no shit like that. You can't get away. You cannot get away in anybody's neighborhood other than people who are so impoverished that they can't actually speak out about it. When you don't have political or economic power, you don't have the ability on your own to challenge this type of thing. And so they don't do this and call it safety in middle class neighborhoods, upper middle class neighborhoods. Certainly in the rich neighborhoods, they absolutely aren't. You know where they do this? They do this in neighborhoods where people either don't have political power or people don't have economic power. And those are the working class neighborhoods, especially black and brown neighborhoods, especially poor black and brown neighborhoods. Go ahead, man.
Hey, Ben, imagine the white suburban neighborhood with a classical white family. You have Bob. They all get up and they leave for work at 7:30. Pretty boxes on the hillside, right? Imagine that. And then there's a goddamn tank that's
saying we're keeping your neighborhood safe. We don't want to defund the police. If we don't defund the police, we're keeping you safe. Hey, they act like we in Walking Dead. Like if people ain't standing on the tower of Alexandria and shooting down they honestly believe that the police are guardians at the gate keeping out the barbarians. No. The police don't do that. The police sit in their offices, and then when they get a call, they come and respond after the fact. They don't prevent crime. They respond to crime. These cops are not keeping your neighborhood safe, folks.
And this is years ago. The technology that they've came out with recently, I mean, honestly, even though there's an endless war in the Middle East, they haven't really had a war in a minute, though we just gave $670 billion for some something crazy, like some crazy
Yes,
amount
yes.
of money?
The last minute trade deal that he's doing with Saudi Arabia.
Right. So what do you do with all this technology? Because I'm gonna tell you who ain't hurting for nothing right now. The military industrial complex. They're not hurting for anything. So what happens when these boys, the big boys, get new toys? They send it to the police.
Right.
Right.
Exactly. What program is that? There's an actual. Go ahead while you finish. I'm gonna look at that program.
I'm just it's not a realistic conversation. And for those of you who say we don't know what we're talking about and crime is sort of organic in the neighborhoods, I want to, like, in black neighborhoods, that's why we need police. Man, white people do more drugs than black people. They do. They do better, expensive, and more drugs because they have more access to the drugs. And guess what? There's not cops to come and mess with y'all when the drugs come to your neighborhoods. It's just not the same thing. If you are in an inner city area and you are a street pharmacist, as they say, a lot of the pressure and crime comes from the fact that cops are around you. A lot of the fact of the pressure and the crime of being a dope boy is every single move you make has to be official in certain ways so you won't go to jail. I think they should just legalize drugs, honestly, man, and keep it moving. But if they legalize drugs, what does that mean? That means you can't find black people to put in jail. You can't find brown people to put in jail. These numbers, these crazy numbers of disparity between white and black folks for marijuana is still happening to this day during a phase where America is legalizing marijuana at the fastest rate it has ever done. So what are we doing? Why can't we talk about decriminalizing marijuana, creating black ownership and black and brown ownership in cannabis, getting rid of the cops in our neighborhoods, and watching us thrive?
Pause. Wait a minute. Hang on. Everything that you said is amazing. Everything that you said is right. Spot on. But I'm about to put something on the screen. I need squirrels and acorns up. I need us to flood every chat room and say thank you to Stephanie Revels for a $500 super chat.
Whoa.
Literally, I mean, hot damn. Stephanie says that this is the best way to spend my money. Number one, thank you. Number two, we're going to make sure that there's a return on your investment, that you're going to get way more out of that. Every dime that you guys ever give us. My MO and these fellas' MO is we take 2 dimes and we make it stretch, and we're going to make that thing happen. So acorns up, 3 squirrels. Y'all show our sister Stephanie some love, because wow, that is mighty generous of you. And thank you to everybody. Every person, whoever donated to this program, thank you so much, because you help it keep going. Shout out to Stephanie. Look at all these squirrels. That's what I'm talking about. Show the love. And while you're showing love, hit that like button. Hit that like button. Go ahead, Marcus.
They're on Facebook. They're on Twitter. Yeah, no, appreciate it. We really appreciate that, Stephanie.
We're gonna start calling Stephanie Mama Squirrel, if that's okay with her.
Hey, yeah. Is Mama Squirrel important? Like, she at least gets that for a month.
Yeah. I mean, $500 super chat. Mama Squirrel in the house.
Yeah. No, so now I'm good. Give it to us, because we ain't gonna give it to the cops.
Right? We ain't gonna give it to the feds. We ain't gonna give it to the mainstream. We're not gonna give it to centrism. We're gonna give it to putting out voices that are actually gonna change the paradigm. Because I'm telling you, man, Marcus, right? We're on the move, man. Progressives, the progressive agenda, and I don't really care. I don't really care about the label so much, right? I'm actually kind of agnostic when it comes to the word progressive, because so many people just use it incorrectly. But what I care about are the actual policies, right? The policies. And I believe that people who are genuinely progressive because they want to do good on behalf of people and they want liberation for all people, right? We're on the ascendancy. We're going to get more seats in Congress. We're going to convince more people. Our generation, by default, it's like we understand the failings of the last 40 years. We see it. We didn't have to read it in a history book. We lived through it.
That's right.
We lived through the failings of the last 40 years. We understand the fact that our entire generation is saddled with student debt, that the last generation is leaving our environment in a condition that it's an existential crisis. So we are by default more prone to be progressive. So I'm encouraged because not only are we going to start winning in this media space, but we're going to start winning in the politics space in general because the future is progressive and we got more and more people who are putting their reputations, their names, and their hats in the ring, and they're running for office.
Before I continue, I do have one more thing to say, but I just want to give a
Hell
shout
Wildcats.
I want to give a shout out to the Florida A&M University and my mama Rosetta Bobo for sending me this really cool FAMU mug that I'll be showing on every show to troll Benjamin Dixon. And it is what it is. Listen,
How did we manage to have the dopest show in the game? One of us be from FAMU and the other one of us be from Bethune-Cookman.
I think it's a serendipity.
It is. For those of you who don't know, number one, Marcus Mundell is out at an event. He's going to be back tomorrow if he doesn't drop in. We may have a special guest that joins us before the end of the show.
Yes.
That's number one. Number two, Marcus went to Florida A&M University that sits on the highest of 7 hills.
That's what I'm talking about.
I hear that shit every day in my household. And my university is the number one rival to Florida A&M, which is Bethune-Cookman University. I went there and marched in the marching band, and we have been dominating their school for the last 15 years. It's just like, I think it's like in the last 15 years, it's like 12 to 3
in football, but education,
in football.
I mean, you know,
in education, bro. I mean, they produce me, man. Come on, what you talking about? Shout out to the Wildcats. And somehow or another, this Florida rivalry.
Divided too. My mom is a Rattler, and my stepdad is a Wildcat.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so how is it that and we're coming up to the Florida Classic week, which is it's going to be a virtual Florida Classic, obviously because of COVID-19. Speaking of, we're going to talk about that in a minute. Y'all stay y'all asses home.
That's right.
200,000 cases of COVID-19 in a single day. We're going to talk about that. But the Florida Classic is coming up, and it is an annual event. Matter of fact, me and Rebecca is possibly going to come on in a few minutes and hang out with us. She went to FAMU. So I don't know, maybe, I don't know what it is, but we are definitely got the dopest shows in the game, and we are all rooted in those two amazing schools from Florida.
Hey, shout out to all the classics, man. The Circle City Classic.
The Bayou Classic.
The Bayou Classic. No, what's the one? The biggest classic is Alabama A&M versus Alabama State.
Really? I did not know that. Is that bigger?
The biggest. I forgot what they call it. It's the Magic City Classic. That's it.
Oh yeah.
The Magic City Classic is the biggest classic. I mean, you got to think about it. Like there's not a lot going on in between the cities of Alabama A&M, and you know, I mean, like not that much going on, but their classic is just ridiculous. And the culture of it, America, the culture of it is something that, like, I've yet to see one person come to a classic and have a bad time. Right. As a matter of fact, every white person that I've seen come to a classic ended up turned out in some way or the other. I'll say it again. They ended up a black college band, a new affinity for black men or black women. It's just an amazing experience. So
there's nothing like it, man.
Oh,
it is.
Yeah. Somebody said Alcorn, Jackson State. My mom.
Alcorn and Jackson State. Now listen, I grew up in I've lived everywhere. So if you ask me where I'm from, you ask me where I identify, I got homes in every area code just about. Right. Alcorn and Jackson State. Man, the thing that made me want to be a part of a black marching band was a Christmas parade in Brookhaven, Mississippi in 1987. And Alcorn University came through, and those tall behind drum majors came through high stepping, dropping low, spin it around, pick it back up, and march it out. I never forgot that. There's nothing like Alcorn State and Jackson State. That is a classic that you got to go to.
Yeah, it's these classics are just simply amazing. So does Georgia have an in-state classic? I know Tennessee State used to play FAMU.
You got the Bulldogs versus UF, but it's not in-state. Yeah, and it's not the kind of classic we're talking about.
Right. So, I mean, well, first, shout out to that rivalry also, University of Florida versus Georgia, and the Gator Bowl in Jacksonville. I mean, if you want to go see where Florida man lives, walk around the parking lot of that game.
Of the Georgia, what they call it? The Georgia Classic?
It's
I don't know what
they call it what is it? The drunkest. They call it something like
It's
alcohol
wild, bro.
related, like the biggest tailgate. Like the game is literally named off of some booze. Maybe maybe the Trap Squad can help us out. What's the University of Florida versus University of Georgia football game called every year? I forgot what they call it. Oh yeah, it's the largest. Thank you, Jason Whipple. It's the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. Right? That's what they call the game. Like we have the Circle City Classic. They call their shit the largest outdoor cocktail party.
Chuck Diesel said he was a drum major too. Shout out to the drum majors. All right, full transparency. Somewhere on the web, there's video footage of me in 1997, 1996, 1997, 1998 being the drum major at Ely High School. And I was out there, bro. I was out there doing flips and splits and percolating, bro. We used to tear it up. I want to find those clips. They're somewhere on the web. But I was the shortest drum major in the history of drum majors. But you couldn't tell me nothing, boy. My 90s, my knees got higher than anybody else's, boy.
Do you remember that year when the BCC at the time? I'm gonna give you respect since we've been talking nice. The BCC tuba player ripped his pants.
I don't know what year that was. That boy was probably tearing it up, wasn't he?
Oh, he was killing it. he was a big old boy now. He wasn't no small. Like, he should have been on the football team because he was bigger than y'all linemen.
But I tell you what, I guarantee you he could probably run and sprint and like last through a football game like them linemen. Because let me tell you something, bro. The most athletic people at these black universities are the people in the marching band. They can rival anybody. If you want to just because we start every practice and end every practice with damn near 10 laps. Like, and then we go in there and then we dance and we blasting our horns at the loudest volume we can to create a good sound. And while we're doing it, we're high stepping the entire time. A 15-minute halftime show is damn near like calisthenics / high intensity impact training. So those are some of the best athletes at these schools.
Hey man, shout out to Ben America. He got a squirrel on a tank.
Bruh, where is that? Is that in text message?
I'm just gonna retweet it on my Facebook page, man. Hey, Trap Squad, y'all are nuts. Ben America got a squirrel on a tank. If you can find that, man.
Trap Squad, I got it. I'm gonna open that thing. Hell nah.
So I wanted to talk about, because I know you went into it last night, man, and this is kind of important if I can freaking find it. I want to talk about, and I said this in the post. A couple of people liked it. Maybe instead of worrying about progressive platform, folks need to be worried about the real issue. And this article is Republicans discuss the extreme electoral college and college play to cling to power. And I'm sharing this with you right now. But Ben, this is problematic, brother. And let me read into it. So the last long shot sort of Hail Mary that the Trump administration is trying to do is one of the scariest ones that they could possibly do. And what they're trying to do is Trump is going to block secretaries of state from
certifying
their elections. And basically that means that state legislatures are the only ones who can send out electoral votes.
Right.
And I know you talked about this last night. I think you talked about it, but basically it is, a strategy that they can literally, there's ways for them to pull this out. And my issue with this right here is, first off, Republicans already lost in two ways. They lost the total vote score, and they lost the electoral college vote score. What is it about white men not being able to lose? What is it about
that, man?
What is it about them not being able to just take that L and go home? Because they're losing all of their integrity they're losing all of their integrity at such a fast and high pace that is shameless, right? And to think that, and then they, you know, they bury it in this: the election is being stolen from us. The election is being taken from us. Somehow y'all cheated. So fundamentally, white supremacy and white privilege is so strong in America that if they lose, it was cheating.
Right.
And we need to do everything, anything, and everything possible. Did you find that tank yet?
Oh, I put it on the screen already.
Okay. That they do anything and everything possible to continue white supremacy by literally just negating. And my problem is, since white women are, you know, still vote for these guys, don't they see patriarchy? Don't they see? How can you teach all these white children, these sweet little baby white children? How can you teach these little baby white children anything about proper society when they think that everything that is against what they do
is automatically cheating, and it's not possible for them to lose?
Right. I remember back in the day, people used to pick on millennials and say, "Oh, everybody needs to get an award. You know, you don't have to learn how to lose thing." That came from these type of folks.
The participation trophy, right?
Yeah, the participation trophies, right? They had the biggest problem with these conservatives had the biggest problem with participation trophies. But now they're willing to destroy democracy. Other countries' foreign leaders are literally giving Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, like, saying, "You guys won the election. We won the electoral college. We won the majority of the votes." So now they're going to try to do it a different way. Let me tell y'all something. Elections are important. Knowing your demographics are important. Knowing the people, knowing how to contact and galvanize people locally are important. Because if this is left in the states, in state legislatures' hands, Donald Trump will be the president for the next 4 years, because we all know state legislatures across the country are Republican dominated.
For so many reasons that we've already discussed on the show. But just a snapshot. It's because of the gerrymandered districts on the state level. Also because of the incompetence of the Democratic Party running candidates on the state level, the neglect of the Democratic Party on the state level, all those things, setting those arguments aside, the fact is that Republicans dominate on the state level. And if Donald Trump, what he's doing, a lot of people, not a lot, there's been quite a few, though, who have reached out to me and said, "Ben, you're scaremongering. You know, there's no coup that's happening." I'm like, okay, right. Put all the pieces of the puzzle on the table. Donald Trump is taking frivolous lawsuits before every single state, and he's going to continue doing so. Even though the original lawsuits are getting thrown out, Donald Trump believes that at some point he's going to be able to get some loyalty from the people that he appointed. Or some Republican, some conservative is going to show him some loyalty. But the critical thing is whether he wins on the legal stage or not, it delays. It delays the certification until those trials are over. And if he delays the certification on the state level, it buys him time to convince these Republican legislatures across the state, across the country, to elect their own electors, to appoint their own electors. Every single, and this is in the weeds just a little bit, but the article in the Constitution says that every state legislature has the right to determine how it's going to choose its electors before the election, not after the election. Republicans are ignoring that part. The state legislatures do get to choose how they're going to appoint the electors. For the entirety of America, for the entirety of this democracy, every single state has selected their electors based on the popular vote in their state. Republicans are actively discussing ignoring that and choosing their own electors. They don't have to do it in every state. All they have to do is do it in some of those key swing states where Republicans control the state legislatures. Wisconsin is the one that's on the radar. Pennsylvania is on the radar. And that means, so Donald Trump is buying them time, and they are putting pressure on them to actually do this.
Georgia.
Oh, absolutely, Georgia.
Most importantly, Georgia. You know, if I was a Republican, in the Trump administration, I would do the same thing. You know why? I used to think, man, these guys are willing to die on the Trump train. They kill their political career on the Trump train. But then I remember America has a white supremacy problem. These guys will never be held accountable for all their nonsense. As a matter of fact, if you are in the Trump administration, you're probably going to land a nice and cushy job afterwards, no matter what.
Right.
Because you've done the work for some pretty evil, rich people already, right? You've done that work, right? So you're going to land on your feet. So why not put it all on the line, knowing that you can land softly, right? Like knowing that your soft landing is going to be a $250,000 job for the rest of your life and probably a pension in the 401k. Why not have a problem with, why not go out of your way and do everything in your God-given ability to disrupt the Constitution? Screw the Constitution. They don't care about the Constitution. Because they're gonna land on their feet and they're gonna get a job, and no matter what. And at the end of the day, they're also looking at Democrats. Check this out. If you're a Republican and you know you're not going to go to jail, you know that no matter what happens in your life, you're going to get a $250,000 job, $300,000 job, and you know that Joe Biden will hire you. And I'm not saying directly from the Trump administration, and Joe Biden is already reaching out to moderate Republicans. If you know all three of these things, you're going to do everything you can to keep Trump in, because you're never going to be accountable for what you did.
Never going to be. But here's the difference, though. Here's the difference, bro. And this is what I really was talking about last night. The complex decision making that we have on our side, because will any of us actually just stand down and let them get away with this? I just don't see how we can stand down for the sake of peace.
Not this time, only because of how Trump's tactics has destroyed I do think that we have some national imagery patriots. I don't think we have some local patriots. And what I mean by that is I don't think that they will care about American people being poor more so than they care about the image of what America looks like. So, the Democrats are going to fight for this one. They're going to fight hard, but understand something. We have a history of not fighting for things, and that's pretty much for one reason and one reason alone, and that is because our leadership is hanging out with a bunch of billionaires. Yeah. Nancy Pelosi is worth $140 million, if not more than that. Yes. Right? Chuck Schumer is not a broke man, right? These guys have consulting and business deals that make them comfortable. At the end of the day, if America fails, they're going to be all right.
Right. Well, that's the thing. They really are making it. They're playing a dangerous calculation, right? Because honestly, like I try my best to hold off on the revolutionary talk, because I can I've been known to incite a couple of fires, but there's more of us than there is of them. They are making a gamble, saying that they are going to be able to keep, I don't know, 2/3. I'm sorry. 2/3 of America is either in debt, impoverished, working class, or living paycheck to paycheck,
or about to die from COVID.
Exactly, bro. The 2/3 of this country is in a level of struggle that if y'all play around, you might fuck around and find out. Now, I think Republicans are just making the wrong calculation here, because they honestly think that we won't meet them exactly where they are. They want to act stupid. Fuck it, we'll act stupid. They don't think that we got that mindset. They simultaneously think that we're like the most dangerous, dangerous, murderous kind of people in the history of the world. So therefore, we must be put down. But then they simultaneously think that we ain't gonna ever do nothing. All right, I'm just telling you. I'm sorry, I just got a message that threw me off. But my platform is small, and there are far more people out there who are thinking like this, and I won't be able to make them stand down. I won't be able to convince people to stand down. They got their own minds. They got their own issues, and you have put them in a position where they have been living so much on the edge. America's existence is literally just living on the edge, and y'all want to mess around and try to steal at least the appearance of democracy from us, you think we're going to sit down and stand down? I just don't see it happening. So it doesn't really bode well for the future.
It's over with, bro. It's over with. Like, you're right. My gloom and doom days are now when I hear random, election day, you know what I did for fun? Election day, I put on that song, F Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
And I rolled around Atlanta with my top down and my speakers on high. And I didn't see, and what was dope was every single white person I drove by was like, yeah, yeah, bump that. And the brothers, even brothers who weren't normally you wouldn't think were engaged, was like, that's what I'm talking about. So there is a lot more of us than them. But first, you know what? I think before we move on, because we haven't done this yet, I think it's time for a little small commercial break. I want to do this real quick. We are at 629 likes on the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And I think the Facebook page, we are at 17 likes, right? We need to, if y'all wouldn't mind, if you're watching the show right now, would you please just stop and like this?
Unless you're driving. If you're driving and listening, don't do nothing but keep driving.
Yeah, right. And unless you're driving, stop what you're doing right now. If you're feeling what we're doing, then hit that like button. We need that like button. We need that algorithm to work in our favor so we can keep spreading this message, and YouTube and Facebook will send more people to us so we can deliver the message of God
to the people.
To the people.
The spirit is telling me you're lying. I'm sorry, right. That was a big deal moment.
And you can find me. Well, you can find us at Thirsttrap on Twitter, Clickbaity Thirsttrap, Clickbaity Political Thirsttrap on Patreon, on Instagram, and on Facebook. You can find me, Marcus Farrell, at Marcus for America. That's Marcus, the number 4 America, on Twitter and Instagram. Old Man Politic on Twitch, and of course my 2 pages, Marcus Farrell and Marcus Farrell, my page, on Facebook. And I'm very happy that everybody's enjoying our show. I'm very happy everybody continues to tune in. And I'll go ahead and do this real quick. You can find, as Mondale says, just Google Mondale Robinson. You'll find them everywhere. And also make sure that you follow Black Male Voters Project. And the last thing I want to say is shout out to my former organization, New Georgia Project. They're doing the dirt work. They're doing the real work. And I'm proud to have worked with them, and I'm proud to still be in community with the brothers and sisters in New Georgia Project, even though I've moved on to different endeavors. They are my people. Send them your money, send them your time, do some phone calls, some phone banking. And also, lastly, if you don't know anyone who needs to vote, go to vote.org. Where you are right now, you can figure out, wherever you are in America, you can figure out how to register your people to vote. And that's the important work. Benjamin, I'm turning it over to you.
You can find me on Twitter at Benjamin P. Dixon, and make sure that you are safely clicking that like button. We don't want anybody putting their life at risk on behalf of a like. But if you are safely at home, just reach over on your phone and tap that like button so that we can beat the algorithm, like Marcus said. I'm just giving shout outs to everybody in the chat room. When you guys see me staring off into the distance, I'm reading your comments and I'm bringing your comments up on the screen. 1/3 of the show is missing. Again, for those who are just tuning in, Mundell had an event this morning that is centered around organizing. I don't even know what the event is about, but I guarantee you it's about doing something on behalf of organizing people for the good of all people. Because if you're doing something good on behalf of Black folks, it just by default is something good for all humanity. So I know that's what he's doing this morning. And very possibly we'll be joined by a guest in a few minutes who's going to help us close out the show for a few minutes. And that's all I got for right now, man. What else is on your mind, bro?
My reparations bill. Y'all can call it the Marcus Farrell bill. Y'all can call it the Trap Squad bill. Listen, I don't care. I got to say it once a show. Black people need reparations. That's my issue, folks. Reparations.
I hit the wrong. Sorry about that last comment. I didn't mean to put that comment on the screen. Go ahead. Reparations.
Oh, no, that's all right. Reparations. So reparations is not only important, I think reparations needs to be centered in the bill. And I'm going to say this every show because I know new people watch our show all the time. And most of the people who watch Ben Dixon channel believe in Medicare for all and the Green New Deal.
Yeah.
I don't think they need to be bills on their own. I think a reparations package for Native Americans and African Americans needs to be passed with the Green New Deal and Medicare for all as earmarks in that bill. That's it. We want to be serious about fixing America. We can fix it all in one bill, and we could tag it onto a reparations bill. What does reparations look like? You can look at Dr. Claude Anderson's work. Just Google Claude Anderson if you want to figure out what a reparations package looks like. And do not believe a single politician who says that it can't be done or we can't find out who's owed reparations. Yes, we can. The information and the studies have already been done. Right now, we do need to also pass H.R. 40 as it stands and have proof and evidence that reparations are needed to make us whole as Americans. So that's where I'm at.
Quiet as it's kept, man. The truth is an actual reparations package that is commensurate to what happened in this country to black people and the damage that remains. A real reparations package would put the police out of business because those resources coming into the black community automatically puts us in a position where we don't have to live with them on our backs. They're not going to, number one, crime is an economic phenomenon. There's too many studies from Harvard, from Princeton, from Yale that shows that crime is an economic phenomenon. Where you have poverty, you have increased crime. Where you don't have poverty, you have a far less occurrence of crime. So period. That's number one. So you put these resources in the black community, you automatically reduce crime, and therefore you're putting the police out of business. But number two, it's just a disposition. Money is power in our system. And the police patrol powerless people. Wow, that's a hell of a alliteration.
Come on.
Police patrol powerless people. God, boy, I be talking that shit on this show.
Well, yes, you
Y'all
do.
tweet that shit out. Police patrol powerless people. You put money in their hands. Commensurate to the damage done to black people in this country, you put the policing agencies, that's automatically, they would defund themselves because they're not going to have people to patrol because police patrol powerless people.
Punk ass police patrol power.
Punk ass pig police patrol powerless
pig police patrol
powerless people.
Powerless people. That's beautiful. Trap Squad,
Police
where you
patrol,
at?
Powerless
where you
people.
at, Trap Squad? We got a special guest coming on here soon, so
we just got to give her time to do her thing, right?
Yeah, we got to give her time.
You know? I didn't ask her until the last second, so.
Hey, that's right. And also, like, we do this every day, every morning. So I'm gonna tell y'all, Trap Squad, pretty soon y'all gonna start seeing some other people with amazing voices.
You see why now I'm always talking about extending the platform and bringing in more talent. We lost your audio, man. We lost your audio. Patrol. I'm tweeting that out, by the way. Police patrol powerless people. Police patrol powerless people. Boom. Still don't have your audio. What's going on? Hey, you check your mute button on
Mic check.
There we go. There we go.
Hey, let me tell y'all something. It almost didn't happen this morning, Trap Squad. Hey,
tell them the story.
Hey, Hoodie Marcus was like, yo, you got. So late last night, Mondale hit us up because he had something to do in the morning time, and he was gonna come in early. And then, Brother Ben, and y'all see him at nighttime, man. Y'all see him at night, right? Like, and then he wakes up early, and he's back on this show. And then me last night, man, like, I just tired, man. Didn't get a good night's sleep. Sometimes that happens. So this morning was
touch and go.
This morning was, y'all are lucky to see us this morning because we almost called it.
Well, the reason they see is because, Marcus, we love them.
That's right. This was love. It was all love, but we need new people.
We're gonna be bringing in some voices to help us at least take a day off each week. We're gonna rotate a day off somewhere in the week.
Yeah, somewhere in the week. I mean, you'll still get the quality information. I mean, we don't deal with F boys or F girls.
Right.
Like, we don't deal with that. We won't allow We won't allow too much nonsense. And even if we do allow too much nonsense, there's always one of us will always check that.
Yes.
Right. So you can almost guarantee that will be available, fully functioning, and ready to rock and roll with the Trap Squad every day to make sure that we bring you quality content. And I also want to tell you that I have personally been working on some T-shirts and a little swag for the Trap Squad. Eventually,
Nice.
you'll see at the bottom of our little YouTube thing where we can hit the buttons, and on our Facebook page. First, at the bottom of our YouTube thing, if Ben allows us to do that.
Man, listen,
Yeah.
y'all are family. Y'all are family on this page, man.
Yeah.
So this page is y'all page. When y'all
And-
when y'all are on here, it's y'all page. You know, when y'all
That's
not
right.
on here, that's my business.
That's your page. And the coolest thing that I've seen so far, the coolest design that I've seen so far, is we have two shirts. One has our sort of silhouettes, all three of us sitting next to each other, and the other one has a silhouettes of squirrels sitting next.
So, do you have those? Do you have those that we can look at?
I just got them sent to me. I'll forward them to you.
Can we? Is it something we can share yet? Or
not yet. I want to surprise.
Okay.
I don't want to put it out, but I'm also going to make an open air ask, because I do want to do this. If you're interested in helping us out with our swag, with some of your ideas, not only we will feature you on the show and give you a major shout out, we'll actually send you a T-shirt. But if you're interested in bringing one of your designs to the table, inbox us at Clickbaity Political Thirsttrap on Instagram. Just message us on Instagram. That's the only way. Message us on Instagram. Message us on Facebook. Message us on Twitter. And send your designs to us, and I'll be interested. We'd be interested to pass it around and make sure that folks have.
How long?
Go
ahead. I'm sorry. I'm Googling something, man. I don't mean to cut you off, but how long does a $500 super chat stay up? Somebody, I'm Googling it. Somebody tell me if they know, because before I commit to what I'm going to say, I just want to make sure I'm not committing for us to be on here for the next 5 hours, because I don't know how long these things stay. Right. But I'm curious if it's a reasonable amount of time. I think we can. Well, actually, I got to check your schedule too, fam. What you got coming up right after this?
I got to get my TV installed so I can watch Clickbaity Political Thirsttrap on my wall.
Okay. All right. Somebody, who knows the answer to that? How long does a $500 super chat stay? Because we gonna at least stay for half of it, depending on how long it is.
That's right.
Like, I think that's the least that we can do. Nobody seems to know. All right, we'll do the research while we wait on our guests. But police patrol powerless people. I want that shirt. I'm gonna put that on a shirt. Ooh, even more accurate. Police protect powerful people.
Police protect police. Punk ass police protect powerful people. Yeah, there you go.
yeah. Hey, you sent it to me. I'm gonna take a look at these designs.
Check.
Okay. Yeah. No, I got you. We got you. 3, 2, 1, and Marcus will be back in a couple seconds. So y'all stuck with me. Somebody said if I've been 5 minutes, so I think another 30 minutes, possibly. So we'll keep an eye on it. But the idea is we're gonna keep going for as long. Oh, is it $1 per minute? 500. Oh, well, we can't make that commitment, ladies and gentlemen, non-gender conforming individuals. Yeah, so thanks for that math. I didn't know the math. So we're going to stay as long as we possibly can. So anyway, I guess now I got to actually do all the talking. See, one of the reasons I like doing Political Thirst Trap is because I actually could just sit here and not talk. And let the fellas, all I got to do is tee up a good question, and the fellas go to work for hours. And it's always good content, right? And so we have at this network, whatever you want to call this thing that we're building over here, we just got some really dope, talented people. And I'm super excited to always be bringing you more, and every dollar that you give. Nick says she paid for her time. Ooh, Lord. Hang on. That's my brain is not working today because I'm on 3 hours of sleep. I'm not going to tell y'all what I'm Googling right now. Yeah, no, we definitely not doing that. But thanks to everyone. It's just this thing. Now, y'all do know I know how to run a show by myself. but I just was not prepared in this moment to actually talk about shit. Because here it is, hey, Rev. You always have great commentary. I do. I normally do, and I appreciate that. She said that I always have great commentary. Here's what we could do. Help me get my brain working. My brain does not work in the morning, man. It doesn't. I haven't had enough sleep. Ask me some questions that gets my brain going. This is funny. I feel like I feel like a newbie to this. Socially Democrat said, just it's great to just chat with us. It is. I'm telling you, I've been doing this streaming thing like this for hours a day. Somebody said, can Ben actually go a day without you all? No, because the moment I started a live stream back, I guess like 3 months ago, I instantly came back later on that day and did another 2 hours of live streaming. So we've been doing nothing but live streaming nonstop. And so we're going to keep it going. This is from Nitesh. It says, shout out to Benjamin and the TYT Majority Report crew, Nomiki. You guys rock. Keep up all the sane, keeping us all sane in this insane world. It definitely is an insane world. Somebody wants to know what instrument did I play back in high school. I played the trumpet, and then I was drum major for years. Anastasia said, what's my fitness routine like now that I've been on lockdown? My fitness routine was super good until, I'm going to be honest with you, until I started the nighttime stream. When I started the nighttime stream and started going to sleep super late, my fitness routine has gone to hell. But I'm trying to get it back to running 2 miles a day and boxing for 30 minutes a day and that kind of thing. Okay. All right. The real host of the show is back. Marcus, I was struggling. Oh, he's putting the headphones on. We can actually talk about some more politics. Countless said, yeah, you were kind of late last night. We were on until midnight last night. And then my brain, let me tell you something, man. I love my wife. Bae, you can hear me?
I can hear you now.
No, I was talking about, I said, Bae.
Oh, pause.
Hold up. Wait a minute. I was saying, I love my wife, but man, I cannot stand the fact that she could fall asleep in 2.5 seconds. The second she cuts off the TV, she's snoring. And I'm left there sitting, looking around like, what the hell is going on? It takes me 2 hours to fall asleep sometime, man. Yeah. And so the fact that I got off the stream at midnight, I honestly didn't get to sleep to 2. And then here we are again at 8 o'clock, just a few hours later.
Make it happen. Make it happen for the Trap Squad. To be quite honest with you, man, like, I mean, to be quite honest with you, a good night's sleep at all times is so important, especially for the kind of work that we're doing and having to be alert. Like I have the opportunity to talk to Ben more than once, like more than this conversation, and Ben is a truthfully honest brother to the point where it can be problematic, as you know.
Every now and then I go one step too far. Yeah, like, okay, let me pull that back.
But one thing that he's very honest about is his sleep and him being tired. And I'm gonna tell you something. Every show we got to figure out how to make my brother super energized. Man, maybe we need to get what they be advertising Super Beats on. We need to get my brother, because my dog be tired in the morning time, right. And I got to make sure that he gets enough energy to keep doing this. You know what I'm talking about?
I will. No, I am doing. Yes. No, we're gonna. I think I've got the sleeping thing resolved, and we'll see tonight. I'll let you know how it goes. Because whereas my wife could fall asleep, boy, I would tell you, without some sleeping pills, without some melatonin, with all that stuff, and without some THC, I'm up. I just can't sleep. So there you go. Mundell sent us a message, and I think it's really pertinent to the conversation. I was waiting for you to get back to have it. But he's talking about, he's at an event, and he wants us to look at, he said we should see all of these snake organizations that are in this meeting talking about the work they want to do in Georgia versus the organizations that are already in Georgia, already doing the damn work.
Yeah, I mean, we knew that's going to happen. Oh God, not to beat a dead horse, but I'm about to spank that little dude right now. I'm about to beat up Mr. Ed. Look, look. Here's the thing. When you know that somebody doesn't know your neighborhood, but they come in and they float in, and they actually try to act like they know the neighborhood, it's a losing proposition. And I'm gonna tell you like this right here. if these folks are successful in doing what they probably are going to try to do, we're going to lose.
Mm-hmm. That's the thing.
And bro, man, white supremacy, white privilege is undefeated, man. It's undefeated. And some of these decisions also passed. So I mean, but here's the thing. Also, Ben, those people that are in that meeting with him, I know some of the people that are in the meeting, and they ain't gonna have that. There's a lot of them that's just gonna fight back for it, right? But here's the question to the Trap Squad. Trap Squad, how many of you got? How many guys have already supported the Georgia Senate race in one way or the other? And if you could in the trap room, yeah. And if you could in the trap rooms across the nation, would you please, if you wouldn't mind, letting me know exactly what organizations that you guys work with?
Marcus, I'm pulling Rebecca. Go slightly to your right so they can see that little ragged ass hat that you got on.
Hey,
I think I have you on mute. Unmute yourself, Rebecca.
Okay, here we go. What's up? Like, why you hating so early in the morning? Like, how you invite me on? And look, thank you. What's up? How you doing, family brother?
Well, I don't even know why I do this to myself, man. I'm putting all rattlers off the show. There will be no rattlers in the building. Go ahead, Rebecca. Welcome to the morning. Well, first and foremost, welcome to sitting in with us. I know you only got a few minutes sitting in with us on the Thirst Trap. First time being on.
Thank you for finally getting me on. I feel like it was long overdue. But I'm here. Your morning folks should have been knew who I was and at least seen a glimpse of me. But here I am today, and I appreciate that because I slave in the morning for a corporation, and so I needed to take a break so I can get on and say hi. And I would never deny that opportunity. So here I'm in.
Marcus, speak to your wildcat, your
Excuse me?
Sister.
Yeah. Well, I mean, first. Hey, that's all. Yeah, we're not doing that. Hey, where'd you stay? You stayed in Dirty Foot? You stayed in Palmetto South? Where'd you stay?
So I actually stayed in TWC. I stayed in Wheatley Hall. I actually was Wheatley 2007, 2008.
Hey, okay.
Yes, I was.
So on black college campuses, America, we talk about our dormitories like they are neighborhoods, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I'm Dirty Foot. But if you call it Dirty Foot outside of Dirty Foot, that's like you being a white person calling me a nigga.
Yeah, you got to be in part of the family to call.
You got to be a part of the family. And like honestly, first, thank you for bringing on your energy. We've been called toxic males quite a few times.
Not by our audience, but by people who just coming to hate watch.
Yeah. There's folks who come and hate watch. What are you thinking from a black woman's sense when it comes down to Georgia? I know you've been following some of the things that we've been saying about outside consultants, about not listening to local organizers, but I do want to hear a sister's perspective. I mean, you are the highest voting bloc for the Democratic Party. And I don't know how you voted, but like when it comes down to the election, because our audience haven't heard your voice yet, and this would be a good analysis of the election itself, and also like what do you think is about to happen in the Senate race?
Okay, so let's talk about this. For the election itself, I know I haven't been on for the on you guys' show, but the other shows have heard my point of view on this one. First and foremost, we want to give a shout out to black women. That is in no way, shape, or form saying that the black men who did their thing didn't do their thing. But black women, once again, came through, okay? We're the highest numbers. We're the ones that come through every time to get the thing done. Because if we leave it to other people, it may not be done. That's why when Eva Longoria came out and said what she said, we took offense to it. Not because, and what she said was basically that it was the Latina women that came out. Ma'am, it's like
wait, can you slow down and give that, because I honestly I saw the outrage, but I didn't even bother looking because I didn't want to be outraged with you. What Eva Longoria from what's that show? Real Housewives of Desperate Housewives. There's one of them housewives show said on MSNBC what?
She basically said that it was the Latina women that came out and basically flipped everything blue, did this, brought Joe Biden in, secured the vote, got Trump out. Basically, that's what she was saying in a sense. And we were just like, Black women. And, you know, we were just looking like, girl, not right now, not in the midst of us. And here's the thing, we have Black Latina women all day. We have them.
Right,
So,
right,
you
facts.
know, but for her to come out, and we know that she wasn't speaking for the Black women. And I know that she might have misspoke. She probably was in hype of the moment. But ma'am, it was your folks who recently, recently we had to question about their voting and who they voted for, right? So we just had to literally go through that with the memes and things like that for your people. So
That's
for you
right.
to come out and say that during this time, what'd you say?
Oh, that's right. I was just agreeing.
Yes, but see, for her to come out and say what she said during this time where we are celebrating Black women, let us have that moment. You know what? Like I said before, we're not going to just have that moment. We're going to take it. And I don't care what anybody says. Black women are, you know, we're talking too much about them. No, we don't speak enough, right? I mean, it may seem like that because it's been the last few years, but how much has Black women been talked down to, haven't been represented, haven't been praised for what they do and how they save the damn nation. We don't even go in there trying to save the nation. We go in there trying to do the right thing, and we end up saving the nation anyway. You know what I mean? So that's just where I'm at with that.
Can I stop you? Can I stop you before you make your second point? Because I got another question. First off, I got a statement, then a question. First, I think that we need to stop saying Latinx. I think we need to say Puerto Rican. I think we need to say Cuban.
Because there's a huge difference.
Yeah, I think we need to say Guatemalan. I think we need to actually call out countries, because each one of these countries and where people are identify themselves have different American political views, and definitely they are not monolithic. My question for you, as a Black woman progressive, and I'll let you get back to your original point, but I had to stop you and ask you this. Moderate media wants to make it seem like there's no such thing as Black women progressives. Definitely no such thing as Black men progressives, but definitely there's no such thing as Black women who support progressive policies, right? And this is why your voice is so important. So how do you counteract that? Then I guess you can go into your presidential thing. But
well, I will say in the beginning, I was just kind of a free thinker, right? Just somebody in here and just doing what I do. And I think with the progressive movement, it's more solid, right? And there are a lot of people who are, because of people like Ben, because people like you, who are out here and educating us a little bit more about more than the movement and just being a liberal, more than just being a Democrat. There's so much more to it. Like the progressives really go in, I feel like, and fight for what needs to be fought for. We're just not speaking for the surface things, right? It's like, we're going out there, we're saying, like with the whole thing, I feel like it's the progressives that are saying, okay, look, there's no honeymoon right now when it comes to Kamala and Biden, right? Yeah. We're sitting here, we're going to praise them. Everybody else is still in celebration mode, still trying to go out there and say they, all of this and that. But the progressives are like, nigga, okay, we did the party, and now it is the next day, and it's time to start holding them accountable. What did they say on that day? Okay, let's make sure we put that in. Oh, COVID-19 is still real. The numbers are rising. How are they going to do that? How are they fixing that? Like, we're holding them accountable. See, this is where the difference comes in. It's not just surface things like, okay, Black Lives Matter. I'm not saying that's not important, but it's not just let's fight for this right here, and let's just fight for this, and let's wear this badge, and it's just so many other things. No, we are really, I think, fighting, and we're walk the walk and talking the talk. Yeah. That's where the difference comes in, and so many women are stepping into that because it just meets. It just fits us better to go in and fight. We've been fighting already anyway. We've been trying to put our voice out there. Now it's more than just the voice. We're just like, you know what? I don't care if the door is closed, honey. We're going to break it down. And we're going to make sure that you hear us on today. And if you don't hear us on today, we're going to make sure we come back and you hear us tomorrow until something's done. That's where the difference lies in that.
I want to put something on the screen that is interesting. You guys got to look via the stream, obviously, but this is a map that has been going around, and it does numbers based on if only this group voted, if only people of color voted, the entire United States would be the most progressive country on the face of the planet. If only women voted, it was predominantly majority. Like there's only a fraction of the country that is going to support the Republican ticket. If only men voted, well, it's the exact opposite, almost the exact opposite. They didn't do women of color and they didn't do black women, but we know for a fact that if black women were the only ones who voted because of their progressive policies. And I think a lot of people try to insult black women, particularly a certain breed of hotep niggas. They try to insult black women as if y'all are only out here being subservient to the Democratic Party, as if y'all don't have enough common damn sense to know what's in your own best damn interest. Now, while they don't have a black women map on here, I guarantee you that if only black women voted in this country, that we would have Medicare for all, that we would have reparations, that we have everything. These niggas around here, excuse me, I said it twice. I didn't mean to say it even once, but we would have everything that we need taken care of, not because y'all out here just chasing behind Democrats, but because y'all are out here, y'all know what we need. You know what you need for yourself.
It's so much more. Like, it's definitely so much more like that we need. And before it was just, okay, let's represent blue and let's just say we're Democratic and let's say we're, and then the young ones, let's just say we're liberal, but there's so much more to it. I know all these are titles, but all of us can be fighting, right? Since we're like all saying we're Democrats, and it's more than just following behind Democrats, and it's more than just say reposting what Nancy Pelosi said, right? It's more than just saying whom I love, Auntie Maxine, and this. It's more than just that whole thing. You really got to get behind it and work. You really got to get behind the work and make sure you're representing everything that you're saying, because not everybody is true to the cause.
You know what I noticed, Rebecca? I noticed that Auntie Maxine don't ever sound like Jim Clyburn. Do you ever notice that? Like, you ever notice
Barbara
that?
Lee?
Barbara Lee don't sound like Jim Clyburn. So would you do me a favor? This is our new ritual, especially for sisters like yourself and people. Give me your best Jim Clyburn impression.
No, wait. Who is Jim Clyburn? I feel like we talked about this the other day, right? And
No, you understand. I think you may not understand exactly how beautiful what you just said was, because the truth of the matter is, people under a certain age category, they don't even know who Jim Clyburn is. For this dude to be like the biggest figure in the Democratic Party, the biggest black figure. Like, if you go ask about black politics, you ask Jim Clyburn, right? And he's the representative from South Carolina, and he's always on this shit that is counterproductive for the black community, right? But you don't see that from Maxine Waters. You don't see that from Barbara Lee. You don't see that from Karen Bass. You don't see that from a whole list of black women in Congress. You definitely ain't gonna see that shit from Cori Bush. Cori Bush gonna hold it down for everybody.
Yes. And there's a difference there, though. But I'm looking at him now, and probably the reason why we don't know who this person is, and he's in the same, I guess, age group as Maxine Waters, right?
Right.
We all know, our generation knows who that is, because when she speaks up, she speaks up. This person just seems to be drowned out by whatever is very surface with the Democrats, and that's it. Come to do his job, sit in his seat, and keep it pushing. But let's talk about something real quick before I get off. Listen. So let's talk about, you see how you guys said, what's his name? Jim Clyburn? James Clyburn?
My name is Jim Clyburn.
He looks like he talks like that. And that's a little, not going to say it. But here's the thing.
Wait a minute. Somebody said yesterday, he looks like he sounds like a Negro spiritual.
Yeah.
And the thing is, he actually sounds like a Negro spiritual. Say that again.
Soul food will just appear on the stove when he talks. Like, I feel like that's what it is.
Like, how you managed to look like George Jefferson and Uncle Ben's Rice at the same goddamn time. This is Jim Clyburn. Go ahead, Rebecca.
That's what I'm getting from him. But you know who is doing us a disservice? I feel like, and I hate to say it because, I live in Atlanta now, and every time he opens his mouth, he cancels himself. And I'm talking about the self-proclaimed king of Atlanta. I'm talking about
None other. I know who you're talking about. Say it.
Expeditiously. I feel that he is doing us a disservice every time he opens his mouth. Like recently, Dave Chappelle.
T.I. for anybody who didn't know who she was talking about. T.I.
Yeah.
What's his real name again? God dog, I can never remember
Clifford.
that man's. Clifford. There it is. Go ahead, Rebecca.
Yeah. This man is really not doing the community too well, especially when it comes to COVID-19, and especially with the numbers rising, yet in the numbers rising as high as they are, right? This man has come out, last week while Dave Chappelle came to visit. And Dave Chappelle had everybody in the room and told everybody, was like, I'm here in Atlanta and I don't see nobody with no mask on. And, but he had everybody in that room, even though he didn't have a mask on in that room, he had everybody get tested before they stepped into that room with him, right?
Right.
And then here comes T.I., old little beanhead, right? The president of Atlanta, right? Comes in and is like, yo, ain't no COVID-19 here. Basically was saying like, we been open because, ain't no COVID-19 here. We been open. It was us that we stayed open because something about like with us staying open, we the ones that caused the vote to flip blue. It was like all this kind of bull, right?
None of it, like literally nothing he said in those sentences made any damn sense.
It was detrimental because people really listen to this kind of BS though. Like people in Atlanta listen to. They like, yeah, Atlanta been open. We ain't sick. Ain't no COVID. Numbers is wrong. Numbers is false. Whatever. People are still dying and the numbers are so high. Okay.
That's the crap. That's the crap that helps out Brian Kemp.
Yeah. Yes, it does. And I think he doesn't understand what the effect that he's doing. It's not only about getting Joe Biden in, and it's not only about like, Atlanta being Wakanda, because it's not. It's not about those things. These are not real. He's putting these play things out there for us to grab, and that's not real, right? Some people can't even afford to go get a test or whatever the case may be, while he's affording to go get a test, and he go get tested before he be around people. But he's telling everybody that Atlanta is open, and these people aren't being tested. So this is the kind of thing I talk about that's trash. Like, I just think it's just trash leadership,
Rebecca, especially because they have that side. Entertainers have an undue amount of influence on everybody. It's not just the black community. I mean, these white folks chase after their celebrities just as much, if not more, as we do. But it's such a detrimental effect to what these clowns are saying and doing, and especially like what happened. 200,000 people. We've been meaning to talk about this episode the entire time. So thank you for bringing that up. 200,000 people tested positive for COVID-19 in a single day. 1,400 people died of it yesterday. And here we got some of the most influential people in Atlanta. Now, he's not influential on the national level like he used to be, but he is probably one of the most influential people in Atlanta, in Georgia, saying this nonsense about COVID-19, not wearing a mask, everything is fine, everything is okay. And who's going to die as a result of that? Black folks.
That's right.
Yeah. Black folks are going to die because they're going to say, even Tip said it, ain't no COVID-19. That's why we stay open. Atlanta been open. We ain't never shut down. This is it was so dumb. It was like every time he opens his mouth about COVID-19, about
his daughter's.
We're not going to talk. It's just like that made me uncomfortable about, his daughter, but I know that's his family situation. He had to handle that, whatever the case may be, about violence that's happening in different communities. Like, he just recently spoke about that, and he was checked by other people in the rap game. Like, he needs to shut his mouth sometimes because he's putting his foot in his mouth every time. It's like we said, it's people inside of our community doing a disservice for our community, because they're really just there to make themselves look good, say what they need to say, and then keep it pushing. But they don't understand how that's affecting the community in a grander way. People are dying.
Rebecca understands how this show works. She understands that I am not going to stop until I'm done with my sentence. You are not going to interrupt me, Benjamin Dixon. And now you talk so long now I forgot what I was going to say. But let me ask you, how much more time do you got?
I have about 10 more minutes until slavery.
Yeah. Are we going to win? Are we going to win?
I hate it so much.
Nah, we gonna get you out of there. You got too much talent to be slaving away with no corporate America, especially that evil ass corporation you work for. We ain't gonna call them out. We ain't gonna say their names on air. Any questions from the audience for Rebecca while we use up her last 10 minutes?
I got a question for her. Are we gonna win in January?
Yes, we are gonna win. If we're going to win. I think we're going to win. Now, look how they're doing this thing where it's like, these folks don't stop. I've never seen these people go so hard. They didn't go so hard for COVID-19 like they're going hard for these these ballots right now, right, for Joe Biden and them. And we're going to do this runoff election as well. This is ridiculous, y'all. Talking about some let's count them by hand. Like,
Bro.
I never seen nothing like this. They did not go this hard. They are not going this hard for COVID-19. People are dying every day, but now they want to like be very intricate and count by hand and make sure that the votes are counted.
Especially because Brian Kemp on the wasn't it the last election they passed legislation saying that they would not count ballots by hand, and now here they are saying no, we're going to count ballots by hand. Like
yes.
They do have a good capacity in this state to steal this election coming up. And the funny thing is, like, they doing all this, like you said, they doing all this about recounting because they want to say that we stole the election, but they literally fucking stole the governorship from Stacey Abrams.
They stole it, and now they're changing the rules. The same rules that we were like, okay, well, let's go ahead and make sure we count it by hand to make sure that these votes, they're like, no. Remember? Now it's like, no, we were going to count these.
No, that's exactly what we need to do.
Feel like this is what is the nation is all about, and that's being truthful, that's being honest, okay, with liberty and justice for all, right? They're bringing out that shit that they don't even apply to their lives. They're bringing it out now. Okay? It's just too much. And people are dying from COVID-19, and they don't even put this much effort into that. No, nothing.
They don't give a shit about us, man.
Hey, they sound like civil rights heroes all of a sudden.
We shall overcome.
Your voice matters. We got to make sure that your voice made it and that your vote counted, right?
Just reading through some comments. Who is doing the recount? It would be people that are part of the election commissions in the different counties, right? And there will be observers. So I'm not particularly like worried that the numbers are going to change, but I do know that presents an opportunity. That presents an opportunity for the numbers to change. Some more questions from the chat.
I mean, if I can go a little bit deeper in that one right there, in the state of Georgia, every county has a bipartisan commission that watches, that basically is kind of like the supervisor of the election department, right? The Republicans get to choose two. The Democrats get to choose two. I believe it's like this. If I'm wrong, please excuse me. And then like there's an independent one that's chosen by either the governor or Secretary of State. But at the end of the day, there are going to be people, a bipartisan group of people who are in there watching every vote that gets counted. So if you're worried that it's going to be just a room full of Republicans trying to say that's invalid, that's invalid, that's invalid, not only will, I mean, you got to give Fair Fight, New Georgia Project, and these organizations their props, because not only will there be the bipartisan commission of people who are watching the counts, there's going to be lawyers from ACLU in each one of them. There's going to be lawyers from New Georgia Project. There's going to be lawyers from so many organizations that are in there watching the ballots right along with them. That, I mean, you got to understand something. They would have stole this election if they could have, but due to the due diligence of organizations already in the state of Georgia, they couldn't purge anybody else.
Right. And it's almost like, you know, fool us once, shame on you. Fool us twice, shame on us. Like the game was stepped up on our side of the equation. And I want to say, I'm throw it back to you, Rebecca, because I know you got to go. But we gotta keep our guards up, man. If we don't, they will at all points try to steal this from us, because they don't have any compunction. They don't have any regard. They don't give a shit. All they want is power. That's why they don't care about COVID-19, because it really don't affect their power. If they see what it's doing to the black folks, it don't affect their political or their economic power. So they don't really care about us, to answer your question, Rebecca.
It's so tiring being black in this country. I wake up and I'm just like, gosh, it's such a blessing. I'm so grateful to be black and to be Haitian. But it's also just like with what's going on in this nation, it's like, damn, like we got to get up and we got to keep our guards up. We got to be looking and fighting every day, every minute, all the time in our nation, in our communities, all of this, because these others, these just really want to make it hard for us. We win fair and square. We did the work. We got out there during COVID-19, stood in these damn lines, put out these ballots, these absentee ballots, which we thought, hell yeah, we ain't got to go nowhere. Let's go ahead and do these absentee ballots. We did what was asked of us, okay? And you guys are still making it hard for us. This shit is wild. And you got Donald Trump, who refuses to concede. He's just like one of those leaders. He's just one of those people that don't want to give up. And it's not cute. Like, it's not in a good way. It's just like he knows he's lost, but he doesn't want to back down, right? And then like he's giving the other people underneath him this like fire in their ass to do the same thing with like these runoff elections, with all this other stuff. Like it's trash. Okay, y'all lost. Y'all didn't do the work. You know, just walk away. Let us have it. And that's it. I am tired. But I'm still gonna get up and do it again tomorrow. Be black and be fighting.
Rebecca, you Haitian? Sac passe.
Not poulet. Of course I'm Haitian.
You from South Florida?
Of course.
Oh man. She about to turn up on y'all in here. Now I see.
Bro, you should have been at the party Saturday talking about turn up. I got the video footage from Zoom.
Play the video. That was crazy. That's crazy.
That party was amazing. Hey folks, your back still, bro, sis, my legs hurt. I'm like, wait a minute. Now I know I've been running enough with my legs not to be hurt after, but we danced for 7 hours.
That's crazy.
We weren't playing with them.
I chimed in for about 3 hours. But still, back is hurting because the moves I was doing, I was like, girl, come on now. I don't know if you can do it like that no more.
You ain't at the moon. Slow down.
You ain't the moon, right?
You're not at the moon.
Y'all slide and get some of them the shingles chicken, boy. I never forget that. Was shingles around when you were there, Rebecca?
No, it wasn't. They actually
they had shut down.
Yeah,
Marcus know about shingles.
Do I? You know about Pharaoh's Deli? My granddaddy's restaurant right there on the corner. Now listen. I'm a Tallahassee native also.
So you a Leon County native? You at 850?
James S. Rickards High School, Florida A&M, FAMU High School, right? Like FAMU High, Florida High, Rickards High. I am Tallahassee to my problematic ass bones.
Okay. So
yeah, matter of fact, the only reason we came here is to fuck up your little outsider party. That's the only reason we came here. We're not here to enjoy ourselves. We're in here to mean mug everybody.
Hey, shout out to Delvin Scott in the chat room. I know he's a rattler too. Matter of fact,
Delvin.
He and I were roommates at FAMU's band camp when we were both in he was going to FAMU and I was still in high school. I ain't know no better, so I went to FAMU's band camp. I didn't realize where I should have went the whole time.
That's why you play a little well, because you were already pre-trained. You were already trained.
But see, what happened was I went to FAMU.
That school over there in the middle of the desert of Daytona.
Put your ass on mute.
Don't you do that. Don't treat
put me on mute.
Wonderful guests like that, all right? You respect our guests when they show up on this show, Benjamin Dix.
Especially when...
I'm sorry. I can't hear you guys. I'm sorry. What? We're having signal is going... All right, folks. Rebecca, we might call it a day at the same time as you. We've been going strong since 8:30, and we have not even yet gotten to the tip of the iceberg of Mama Squirrel's $500 donation today. So since we're not going to be able to outlast that, because apparently that donation probably will last 8 hours, according to some estimates. Well, we're going to say this, Stephanie, make sure you connect with us. We need to connect with you because you get an invitation to every party that we do going forward, no matter what party it is, whether it's the Benjamin Dixon Show party, whether it's Marcus Farrell doing his live stream party, whether it's Mundell doing a Black Male Voter Project. You're going to be the only woman up in there, but we're going to bring you into every party for that donation. And
thank you, Stephanie.
We ain't getting none of that. No,
that's okay. No, that's okay. I'm grateful that somebody is really, people are watching, and people that are giving whatever they're giving.
Speaking of giving, I haven't done it. It's time to pass the plate around, folks. Time to pass the plate around.
Yeah.
So,
Rebecca, thank you so much for that.
Rebecca, no, I love her. Rebecca, no, we take care of her on this show, but we go after each other like that just because she set herself up. You set yourself up, and I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. Mama Stephanie, Mama Squirrel, we thank you. We appreciate you. Rebecca, thanks so much for coming with and hanging out with us. No, I think we're going to, Marcus, we want to call it right about here, right?
Yeah, I mean, I got this Ratchet Atlanta company about to put up a television in the next room, and I need to make sure that they ain't messing nothing up. But I do want to say one thing before we go. Y'all thought I was playing. Pass the plate around.
Send up some acorns, some super chats.
Throw some acorns, some pellets up on that screen, right? Squirrel Gang, Trap Squad. Make sure y'all show up for us. If you haven't done it yet and you enjoy the show and we can keep bringing quality guests on, like our sister here, my fellow Rattler Queen, you know what I mean? Then what you have to do is you have to support us on Patreon. That's Clickbaity Political Thirst Trap on Patreon. We need your help. We need your consistent support. Find us, like us, rock with us, and then I'm gonna pass this. I think Rebecca should end this out today.
Rebecca should get the last word. But before I give to Rebecca, Marcus, people want to know if you have a Facebook presence. I know you do, and I know you said it, but say it real quick for the people so that they can have your Facebook presence.
Yes, MARCUS space FERRELL, and you're gonna see 2 pages. One has me with a blue mask on. That's my current profile picture. And the other one has a Black Lives Matter mask. Black Lives Matter street sign from Tallahassee, Florida on Gaines Street. But you see Black Lives Matter on there.
That's what's up. And Rebecca, you get the last word. But before you get the last word, tell everybody where they can find you.
Okay, guys. So you can find me on... wow, that song came into my head.
You can find me. Because it's just... Because anyway.
Yeah. So... You guys can follow me on, what is that thing? Twitter? Yes, Twitter for the kids. I'm just kidding. You can follow me on Twitter at Rebecca Azor. That's my first name, last name, REBECCA-AZOR. You'll see me with a picture with my nephew. No, he's not my child, but it's my nephew. So that's REBECCA-AZOR, Rebecca Azor on Twitter. You can also follow me on Instagram because now I've been giving out my Instagram, which is more my personal life on there. But come on and enjoy. Come check me out on the gram. It's at The Songstress. That's TheSongstress, The Songstress, like Anita Baker. So follow me on.
Some of those pictures on Instagram ain't political.
Look, that's my personal page. But if y'all want to get to know me, just come get to know me. Before I was in a box and I tried to shelter myself, but I still have a life. I'm still me. I'm always gonna be me, and y'all gonna see me in these streets doing whatever I want to do.
She gonna be her.
And I can still talk about politics, and I can still talk about the Lord. It's all right.
Lord.
We are all a combination of ratchet, righteous, and radical. Hell, I be coming up with some shit, bro. Righteous, radical, and I forgot the other one.
Remember that, because remember that. I need that to be a caption on one of my Instagram ratchet pictures. Oh,
there it is. Righteous, radical, and damn, what was it?
You said righteous, ratchet,
righteous, and radical. Right. We're gonna put that. We gonna put the shirts on that. Rebecca, you get the last word. Talk to the people.
Okay, so I thought I had the last word, but you guys, I want you to know I've been talking about this, mental health. I know I mentioned that a lot because it's serious. Right now, I need you guys to understand seasonal depression is something real. It's the holidays. Some of us may be lonely. It's COVID-19. Some of us haven't seen our families. Some of us are in our homes alone. It's just a really tough time for the holidays for a lot of people. So I just advise you, I really want you guys to just fight through it in this season. This year, 2020 has been a bitch, like I've said before, but fight through it. We're not going to let depression get us. We're going to keep on fighting. Do what you can. Get up in the mornings, get some light on your face, take a good shower, put some feel-good music on. My go-to is Frankie, Beverly, and Mays. Hey. And you know what I mean? I want you guys to just kind of just stick through this, fight through this. It's going to be a good season. I wish you guys well. I love you. I mean it.